What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Relentless Project. We talk a lot on this show about pushing our physical limits, but today we're going to dive into what it takes to push past the limits of the mind and spirit. My guest today is Talie Feola. On paper, she's a former one division swimmer who is currently training for a marathon, a wedding photographer, and the woman behind the art of being seen. But behind that resume is a story of survival that will shake you to your core. Growing up, Talie felt unseen, carrying the heavy, silent weight of childhood trauma. 3 years ago, repressed memories of sexual assault came flooding back. She found herself staring into the abyss, questioning her sanity and fighting just to stay alive. But she refused to let darkness win. She took a massive leap of faith, traveling to a yoga retreat center in Guatemala to sit with plant medicine and face her demons head on. She did the grueling inner work to realize that the shame she was carrying was never hers to hold in the first place. She just turned 30 this past January, and she has dedicated this new decade to living in the light. Now, she uses her camera, her projects, the art of being seen in the hot seat, which I had the pleasure of being a part of, to help other creatives drop their masks, express themselves authentically, and finally feel seen. Talie Feola, welcome to the Relentless Project.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So how does it feel to be in the hot seat now?
I'm excited.
No pun intended, because that's, copyright issues there. That's hers. But it's different to be on the other side of the mic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'm used to being the space holder.
Now you're in my space.
Yes, I'm a little nervous.
That's another copyright issue. Jeez, I'm just firing. I always like to start with the question of how does it feel to hear someone else describe you and your story?
I don't usually zoom out and see myself from another perspective, so it's interesting. And it reminds me how much I've been through, because sometimes I'm just moving so quickly and focus on everyone else that I kind of forget to see myself.
It's easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you literally make a living in kind of focusing on other people and making sure they're seen. And I being a part of that was awesome, because I kind of see your process, and it's an intensive process. It's very intentional, requires a lot of resources, a lot of bandwidth. And you're doing, you told me 10 people a week?
I'm averaging about 7 a week, I would say. I've done 82, 83 at this point in the last 3.5 months.
80-something guests in 3 months. Mm-hmm. I'm at 134 in 3 years.
Got to get those numbers up.
Yeah, you are there. You are there. But it's wild to me, because it's not a numbers game for you, but you're doing the numbers, which is awesome. How does it feel to like do you feel yourself becoming, is there a stress involved with that, like trying to keep up with the numbers, or is your process refined where you're like, okay, boom, 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 I can get this done, I got it done, and then now I got to move to the next one? Like, how is that looking for you behind the scenes, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm working 24/7. I don't really take time off. I don't have much of an off switch. I feel like the moment people leave, I'm editing the rest of the day. There is some stress involved, because I feel really called to make this my life's work. And I feel called to have a big platform to then serve the people who sit in the seat. So I feel a pressure to build and bring an audience to what I'm doing. So that pressure, I feel like I'm in a pressure cooker a bit, where I'm constantly creating, and I do feel pressured to keep up with the numbers, but at the same time, I'm choosing to do that. So if I'm the one scheduling this, so I'm putting 2 hot seats in one day, but I like it. I like to be busy. All I do is work and work out, really.
Yeah, I have the similar mindset, and I've had the luxury of being having a performance coach now.
Mm.
So, courtesy of Sharp Performance, shout out to them. But I get to sit with these. So these are men who were like special forces, and they've gone through their crucible, and they make a living in coaching people and helping them to kind of see where they're at and push to where they want to go. Right. So it's not like therapy; it's essentially performance coaching. But they're equipped to deal with a lot of things. So imagine my surprise. I'm talking to my coach, and I'm like, yeah, I'm always wanting to do more. I'm always wanting to do more. I'm talking to a former special operator, right? All they do is go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, man, sounds like you're doing too much. I'm like,
I
hold
get that
on.
all the time, and I'm like, do too much.
Yeah, I'm
what
like,
do you
dude,
mean?
I can do more. And he's like, nope, you're doing too much. You're gonna burn out. I hear this a lot.
I get that all the time, and I'm learning to lean into the fire, because I'm like, how hot can I burn before I burn out? Like, I don't know that I burn out the same that everyone else does. I think I just have a hotter fire, and I'm learning to trust that.
So this is what I'm dealing with, right? Like the world is telling me I'm doing too much. I'm telling myself I'm not doing enough. I'm doing fine. There is this stress, but it's a self-induced stress, right? Because I see something, I want to strive for it so bad. And then I create schedules, and I'm like, or something comes out and it's not to the potential I saw it as, and I know it can be better. So like, I understand the stress is self-induced. However, that's the motivation to be better and do more. And then I have this elite special forces operator who's done more things in the world that I'll ever imagine. And he's like, yeah, man, you're doing too much. You need to do less, better. And I'm like,
I think there's a balance to that, right?
There is. And I think he will never tell me what to do. I like his approach. It's always like, well, like he has you kind of self-reflect and kind of come up with your own solution. And he calls himself a guide. He's not a mentor. He's a guide. He guides you to your decision. But like when he was like, yeah, you're doing too much. I'm like, man, am I? Because I do a lot. And sometimes I don't allocate what I should allocate to what needs to be allocated. So do I need to do less better, or do I just need to do more better?
Well, I think there's a balance to that, right? And I think making time for yourself and stepping away, like I know I need time to turn off, because that's when I get my creative ideas. But I'm also in the beginning stages of this. It's only been 3 months. I'm like, I just need to stay the course. And it is a bit of a numbers game where like, how much can I learn in this process quickly? And I'm learning as I'm going. Like, so actually tomorrow is a year mark since I filmed my first Art of Being Seen. And it's funny, that was on a phone, and it was like a 7-minute video, and the quality was horrible. And that was a year ago. And now I just got a 2-camera setup, and my quality is so much better. It's a whole different setup. And I've done like over 100 interviews within the past year. So I'm so much better at interviewing now and holding space. And this process is pretty easy for me now, where I can put the numbers out because of all the work that I've done up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, especially your work as a photographer, you're dealing with editing and lighting and, spacing, positioning, which kind of coincides with videography, right? Like, so, and the editing process is sort of similar. If you can understand editing with photography, you can understand editing with videography in the sense of like color matching and all that stuff. So that stuff, the hard stuff that I'm still trying to refine, you have.
Right.
And then you're doing so many interviews, you're refining that process every time. And I have a similar approach, right? Like I was going to people's places, their gyms, their businesses, their homes, and I was setting up and tearing down.
It makes it so much more difficult.
It was difficult, but what I learned was like setting up, lighting. Lighting was different in every time. So I had to force myself to learn how to set up the cameras for different lighting. And there was an episode where the overhead lights just shut off. I was in a gym and we didn't move for so long and the lights shut off. It's like next time I was like, I need to have a ball so I can throw. So like, not that you need to have a ball when you're producing, but you learn things and you refine things, but you're doing it at such a volume that you're learning.
So quickly.
Yeah.
Well,
quickly.
and I think everything in my life led me here. I've always been the space holder friend. I've always been more of like the therapist role. I'm the listener. I've always been really good at seeing people. I felt unseen, so I just saw other people. That was my safety. And then obviously photography. I've been doing it for 10 years. So everything, I can do things so quickly because of my past.
Yeah, you've been doing this for 30 years, essentially.
Pretty much.
Which is interesting. You go from feeling unseen to creating a space where people are forced to see themselves. And which was interesting, right? Because when I sat there, like I'm big on, I'll talk about everyone else all day of the week. Like that's my bread and butter. I
Right.
love showcasing people and how awesome they are. And sometimes I get to throw a personal story to connect with people, right? But then when I'm sitting there and you turn on the camera and you're like, obviously we have our intro conversation to set me up for everything, and then you're like,
Talk.
okay, speak. And I'm like, oh, okay. First question, it's like, oh, we're going like that. We're going deep. All right, hot seat. I already run hot, so this is the double hot seat. But it's interesting how you've approached your projects, and I think it's cool.
Thank you.
So before we talk about all that and the start of all that, because that's a story of its own, walk us through a little bit of your background. How did we get here? How did you become the woman you are today?
Oh, wow. Where do I begin?
Yeah. Well, let's start up. The mask of athletics. You did sports growing up.
Yes.
How did that come to be? Was that something you chose to do? Was it something that was put on from your family?
I was always an athletic kid. I was always moving my body. Like I said, like I run hot. I'm always moving. Growing up, I wasn't celebrated for being different, and I learned to suppress that about myself. I've never really fit in, and it wasn't, my parents didn't celebrate me for coloring outside the lines. They wanted me to fit a certain mold so that I would find the success, and I know they meant well by that, but that's not who I am. And I tried to change myself to fit that mold for so long that I pretty much abandoned myself. And then I turned to swimming. Swimming was my outlet, and swimming, your head's in the water all day. You don't really interact with anyone. It's a very individual sport. So that kind of formed me into I had a lone wolf mentality. I never fit in. I never had a solid group of friends. Never fit in with the girls. I felt like I was always bullied or on the outside. And it wasn't until way later in life, once I started to find myself, that I found my group. So swimming became an outlet for me, and I think that's why I was so good at it. I just turned to swimming when things were hard, and it was like meditation for me.
When you say you were different, what were you experiencing that wasn't connecting with the world?
I think I had a lot of depth, and I wasn't good at surface level connection. I was a little bit awkward when it came to surface level
You
connection.
were the weird kid,
I was the
because
weird
when you
kid.
ask what's up and how's it going, you're actually asking that question for the
Right.
answer.
And then I don't know how to talk surface level. I'm a little awkward, and I can go deep with people, but that's all I know. And I was never met with that depth. And I think my parents in particular tried to bring me to the surface and didn't understand my depth, so they didn't know what to do with that. And so I just learned that wasn't okay. So then I just kind of shut down, where I just kept to myself. And a lot of the issue was self-induced, where I was not seeing myself. I was not allowing myself to express authentically because it was seen as weird.
I mean, everyone's weird depending on what room you're in, right?
Right.
Like I'm weird in a specific room. Other it goes back to what I was talking about. Like we will change ourselves to fit in the room we think we want to be in, and then we get into the room and we're like, man, like I don't belong here.
Right.
Why am I experiencing these feelings? Why am I not connecting with the people? It's because you were never meant to be in that room.
Right. I was in all the wrong rooms growing up. And I went to Catholic high school, all girls Catholic high school. We had to wear a uniform. I wasn't allowed to express myself. I didn't really even start to explore self-expression until way later in life, probably like when I was 25. So I completely lost myself. So after high school, I didn't have any time to really look at my childhood because I immediately got into a long-term relationship that was unhealthy, lost myself to that in codependency. And when that ended, through lying and cheating of my partner, that broke me. And then I realized like I'm a shell of a human. Like my identity became this relationship, and I never looked at my childhood, which was why I even attracted this to begin with. So around the age of 25, I had this big moment of like, who even am I? I didn't even know what kind of foods I like to eat. Like I changed everything about me to be loved. And I never took the time to fully love myself.
So there's a lot to unpack there, because I feel a lot of us do that. We change ourselves to fit something, whether it be for good intention or whether it's out of fear or whether it's out of manipulation. It happens. It happened to me. You know, I was in a relationship where I never set a boundary. And by the end of it, I was so upset at this person. And after self-reflection, I realized like I never set a boundary.
Exactly.
I never expressed myself, whether it was because I was never allowed to, which sounds silly to say as a man, right? But I never set the boundary. And then now and we do this in life, right? We never set a boundary. Someone crosses it.
Right.
We get upset at them, and we never communicate to them that 1, there was a boundary, 2, they crossed it, 3, I'm just changing my approach to you and I'm upset. And then we get into this whatever it is, and by the end of it, we're like, what even happened?
Right. And looking back on everything, I'm like, this could have all been avoided. I could have chosen to see myself expressed authentically. No one was stopping me just because I was getting pushback from people around me. I could have chosen to still express. And in that relationship, it's a dance between two people. And like, I am just as at fault as that person was for the unhealthy relationship. Like you said, I should have set the boundaries, and I should have been more clear about what I needed in someone. And it wasn't that. Like,
Yeah.
why did I stay so long? Right.
So being on the outside of it, there is someone right now who is listening who may be in that situation. How would you go back and change things if you could, knowing now what you know, being on the outside of it and realizing like, oh man, I didn't set these during these times. Like, this is what I would do different. To someone who's in that relationship right now, whether it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, or, you know, parent-child, right? Like, we don't set boundaries with our parents.
Right.
Or we don't set boundaries with our children, and then it leads to something, right? I think the same principle can be applied to a multiple types of relationships. So to someone listening who may be in that, let's say, intimate relationship, and they're just like, how did I get here and what do I do? What's like your advice to that?
I mean, I would have told myself to take a step back and really like see yourself, and what are you giving here, and what are you getting out of this, and why are you still here? Take time to learn yourself and love yourself, and then return to it from a loving place. I think truly I would just tell myself to take a break from dating and just find yourself, because I never took the time to just be alone and enjoy my alone time. I've always thought I want kids and I want to get married and all these things, and I never took the time to become a fully formed woman before trying to enter into a relationship. And I think that's so important. I think that you should be clear on what you want out of life, what kind of mother you want to be if you want to have a child, what kind of father you want to be if you want to have children, before you even enter a relationship or entertain anything. Because when you choose your partner, like, that's so important. Like, what kind of family do I want to raise? What kind of partnership do I want to enter? I never took the time to ask myself these questions and take a look at the type of relationship that I was fostering.
Yeah, we kind of try to figure that out as we go.
And I'm learning to do the opposite. I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional about dating. I'm very intentional about who I spend time with. And most people are like, why do you take it so seriously and just have fun? And I'm like, but that's not going to get me the life I want. I think that we do have to intentionally go after what we want. I think there is play involved in that, but I don't know. I think I have to be intentional about who I'm pursuing, what I'm pursuing.
So to the single woman, right? Because you can speak on the woman's side. To the single woman who is out there having fun, but they're like, man, I'm not finding the thing or the person I want or need. How do you start the process of like reflecting onto yourself? Because we talk about it, right? Like, reflect on yourself. I've taken many years to do that, and finally came to the realization of what that means. That's taking an inventory
Yes.
of your life, right? Like, If I want to be the best podcaster, to lighten up the situation a little bit, I don't want to get too deep too quick, might scare off the folks, but if I want to be the best podcaster, what does that entail? Sit down and having, and sometimes it's superficial, having the best camera, having the best mic, okay, how do I get that? That requires money. Okay, how do I get money? What am I doing now? Okay, can I save money? Like, it's taking a deep inventory of your life, what you're doing, who you're surrounded, what people can I surround myself with? Oh, there's a studio down the street. I know the guy who runs that. Let me talk to him and learn from him how it's taking an inventory of your life. We don't do that with anything, let alone our relationships.
Which is so important. That makes or breaks your life experience. Like, I do think you are a sum of the people that you surround yourself with. And I've become very strict with who I'm around, even to the point where, like, I will cut people off if it feels like it's not feeding the bigger purpose of my life. I've gotten to a place now where I see the vision for my life and I see my purpose so clearly, and anything that gets in the way of that has to go. And I've come to this place now where I need people in my life who operate in similar ways, where I need people who are more committed to their purpose and their life's calling and God, whatever relationship that is, above anything else. So in partnership, I look for that. Like, are you committed to something bigger than yourself? And then the relationship falls under that, because I think you have to have something bigger you're working towards, or you become codependent. I want to be two fully formed humans in any relationship that I enter. And I think that goes for friends as well. I struggle to be friends with people who aren't creating something bigger for themselves or serving a bigger purpose or mission. That doesn't have to mean like be an entrepreneur. You can work a 9 to 5 and have a bigger goal, but
yeah, oftentimes I think we, especially in the podcast world, everyone needs to be a business owner and like the next guru. And that's not what I'm trying to build here. I'm trying to build community with good people, right? Mm-hmm. Good people doing good things. 9 to 5, that's fine. If that works for you, that's awesome. Like, but what are you doing in that 9 to 5? Are you like, because you can approach it in two ways. You can be the person who shows up late, is miserable, does their job maybe, and then goes home.
Go home, watch TV, scroll on your phone.
Yeah, like
I need I need people in my life who are doing big things outside of that too, right? It's not just your 9 to 5. It's like maybe you're training for something outside of that, or you're working on a passion project, or you're doing art behind the scenes. But it's something bigger than you, or contributing to some sort of nonprofit.
Or you're the guy who goes in early, or girl, the guy or girl who goes in early. You're turning the lights on. You're turning the coffee machine on.
Right.
You're saying good morning to people. You're asking, hey, how's your kid doing? I saw you posted about he got into Little League. Like, you're very intentional with your approach to people. You'd be surprised how much that can change someone's life.
Well, and like energetically, it feels like the people who are like just kind of moving through life and showing up late and just going home watching TV, like they're not turned on, like their light's not on. But like, I love the people that their lights are turned on, and I'm like, they're the one like sparking everything.
What do they call that in video? Like, there's a term in video games where it's like just the people who are like programmed. But now their kids are using their like kids are
NPC
using
or
NPC.
Something?
Yeah, like they're NPC.
I forget what that stands for, but
non-programmable character. No, they would be programmed.
I don't know.
But yeah, NPCs. Like, we walk around and think about it. When you're driving to come here, you were in traffic. You look over and you just see someone. NPC, right? Like,
maybe they're scrolling on their phone when they're driving.
They have a life. They have a life. They're coming from somewhere. They're going somewhere. They're going to experience emotions today.
Yeah.
But it's so easy for us to overlook that. And that's a stranger. But we do that with the people we work with. You know, they have a life. They're going home to something. They're hopefully building for something. But we don't see that. We see people and we keep everyone at arm's length. And I think 2020 did a damage to people in the community in the sense of we were all stuck behind screens. And then we were essentially pushed back out in public, and we're just like, hey, what's up? Good, cool, yeah, go. And then you walk.
Yeah, it's sad. There's no community.
No community. You'd be surprised how many minds I blow when I'm like, hey, how's your day? And they're like, oh, good. And I'm like,
no, really?
Good, yeah. Like, what'd you do today? Anything fun? and they're just picking groceries, and they're like, "Why are you talking to me, weirdo?" And
Get
I'm
away
like,
from me.
"Yeah, how was your day? Like, was it good though?" And they're like, "This dude's gonna rob me. He's big, tattooed, and tan. I don't know." But when I ask, I'm like intentional. I'm like, "Hey, how's your day? Anything good? Anything fun happening? Anything fun planned?" They're like, "What?"
See, I think I tend to assume that people don't want the actual answer, and I tend to give the surface level. But I think that's conditioning from
30 years.
yes, 30 years.
It happens. 3 years ago, you said you had repressed memories of abuse when you were younger. How does that come? Because I feel a lot of us, we've all been through stuff. We all have a story, and some people speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people will never talk about it. And it's interesting how when you're in a room with someone who's gone through something similar, now you're kind of emboldened to be like, oh man, that also happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you meet that person who has the courage to speak up, they'll never talk about it, and we'll bury it for the rest of our lives. And that carries weight. And with weight, there's trauma. And with trauma, there's decisions we make that may not be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you go about coming to the realization and confronting that head on?
So I had been on this healing journey for, I guess, starting in like 2020, it kind of began. And I'd always been a deep seeker and just searching for a deeper truth. And it always felt like I was carrying this darkness with me. It was almost like a depression, but it was like looming over me. Like it wasn't really mine to carry, and I didn't know where it came from. Up until 3 years ago, I couldn't really remember anything before the age of 13. And I used to tell people that, and they would kind of just brush it off. Like, no one remembers their childhood. But I'm like, no, like, I only know myself through the stories that people tell me. Like, I don't remember anything.
Same.
And obviously that's like a sign of trauma. And I don't know if this is like TMI, but I used to wet the bed till like way late in life. And like,
Well, that's a sign of like trauma, actually, which I
Yes.
never knew.
and it was until I was like 12, and I'm like, that's great. Like I used to have to wear like diapers to like sleepovers, and I'm like, I would hide that. There was so much shame there, and no one asked any deeper questions. And I'm like, why was no one concerned? But there were a lot of signs that something had happened, but I just kind of, it's okay. Like, I just don't remember. It's fine. 3 years ago, I started exploring some other healing modalities that kind of forced me to face myself in a different way. And I had emotions surface at first, and it was like this deep knowing that more had happened to me, and I had a huge emotional release for like hours, and that just like cracked open this can of worms of like, oh wow, like I think there's a lot to this that I actually need to look at, because I was living in such a depressed state for so long, and that just was part of my identity. And I was like, I want to get out of this. I want to be better. I want to attract better into my life. I need to change. And that was when I was like, I need to go abroad and do plant medicine. Like, this is something that's calling to me. And for a year, I was in one of the darkest places of my life. I kept having, like, I was very confused. I'm like, did this happen to me? Did this not happen to me? I had memories resurface from the age of 3 to 4-ish, and then 7, and then again when I was 11. So I had all these knowings, and it wasn't like I was able to fully place the memory. And even if I can, I'm never going to actually remember as is. Like, that's not how the brain works. But all that mattered was that I healed it, and I was able to move through it. It doesn't really matter if I have the exact memories of the things that happened. I know who did it, and I know when it happened, and I can heal and move on. That's all that matters. And if my brain wants me to remember one day, it will let me remember. But I think it can only happen when I feel safe enough. So I did. I went and I sat with plant medicine in Guatemala, and it really helped me face that in a lot of ways.
That's interesting. That's like, you're not going, people struggle to go to the next state.
Oh no,
for help.
I was in,
You went to a different country.
At one point I almost checked myself into the psych ward because for a year I was in the darkest place of my life. Like, I was so isolated. I wasn't talking to any of the men in my life because I was like, who did this? And I was looking at everyone because at first when I realized this happened to me, I didn't know who it happened with. It was just an inner knowing and like this huge emotional release, and so much healing came alongside that.
So you experienced these feelings And you kind of had like memories. You had memories of like something happening.
It was more like surrounding those times. Like I remember feeling deep shame around my body and having these deep emotional releases, like feeling so sad around these certain timelines in my life. And there were a couple men in my life that I'm like, this makes sense with these men. And like it was just a deep knowing. And I was seeing a therapist as well at this time. And I guess your brain remembers in different ways. And some people remember emotionally and physically more than they do mentally. And that's just part of it. And it will all come back. Like, honestly, it might come back. Like if I have a kid one day and they're that age, like it might trigger something for me. And it's like memories trigger for me in weird ways. It's like if I smell something, it's like now that my brain's on and like aware, it feels like certain memories are triggered by certain sounds, certain smells. And I don't know when it's going to come back. But I do feel like there is some level of like I'm still in the unknown of it all, where like I do now know what happened to me to some degree, and I found answers that I needed enough so to move on from it.
Is it better to know? Like if
Well,
you had the opportunity to fully know,
I'd rather not know.
You'd rather not know.
Because I don't need to know the ins and the outs and the details of it all. I'd rather just heal it. It doesn't. Again, it's in the past. It doesn't matter what happened. As long as I'm not carrying it anymore. And it's not like I'm going to pursue anything.
Yeah, it's like
what good would come
the
of me
importance
remembering?
is you healing.
Exactly.
And moving on from it.
Right.
But I feel like we live in a world where like we need the revenge,
the story doesn't
right?
Matter.
Exactly.
And that's something I've learned is that it doesn't matter where I came from. All that matters is this present moment and how I'm operating. So if I can get to a point where I'm living in the light and I'm healed, nothing matters from my past. Like I don't want to live in that story. I don't need to identify with that. This thing happened to me. That's okay. I can move on. But it took me so much work to get to this point. I was going to say I almost checked myself into a psych ward at one point. Like that's how dark it got. Like I didn't want to be here anymore. And I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this. I felt so isolated. I didn't know who to trust. Again, and my trust had been broken over many years through that past relationship. And then realizing like my childhood, it felt like I was so separate from my childhood. And it was like a merge of identities once I had these memories resurface. It was like I found myself again and I was one person. So it almost changed how I saw myself too, because the story of who I was changing. And processing all of this alone was so hard. I had just moved back to Pittsburgh I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, so I didn't have real community. I was spending a lot of time alone, just like healing this.
And this was during 2020, you said?
No, so this was 3 years ago. So this was 2023. Okay. And then, so for a full year, it was really dark. I almost checked myself into a psych ward at one point. And then I ended up through a crazy series of events, like manifesting this opportunity to go get paid to live at a retreat center in Guatemala.
So that's another one.
Yeah, that was like, that's a really great story I could tell.
Yeah, please do. Because, you know, to me listening, I'm like, man, you're going through this moment. And like the easy thing to do would be make a rash decision, which I'm glad you didn't do. The next easy thing to do is, you know, confronting that head on and going, I need to go seek professional help, which you were speaking with a therapist. So that's good. And then it's like, oh, I can go to a different country and explore an alternative method of healing.
Which was what I wanted.
Okay. So you wanting that is good motivation for that. But like, how do I get there?
Right. I didn't have the
hurdle.
means at that point. And I was broke. I'm in debt. I'm like, how am I going to make this happen? I'm like, I need to sit with this plant medicine. And so I had that feeling for about a year. And I was trying to network in the space of the retreat center because I was working in marketing at the time. Like, if I can work for do marketing for a retreat center, then I'll be like, can I come do some medicine? But that didn't work out in that way. But I did make some friends along the way. So I was working at a marketing agency and also working part-time at a float spa. And I got heavily into floating. And I was meditating and I was studying a lot of Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you're familiar.
No, but I want to do a float.
Oh,
spa.
they're amazing.
Salt, right? It's like salt water.
They changed my life. Yeah. You go
Yeah.
into this really deep state of meditation. I have like psychedelic like visions while I'm
Well,
floating.
say you
Oh my gosh.
hallucinate.
Yes.
Oh, that's about to be wild.
But I was working at a float spa. I was working at a marketing agency. I'm like, something has to change. And it was like a Tuesday afternoon, and I had this inner knowing of, and I'm very intuitive, and like I always follow the inner knowing. I had this knowing, like, I have to quit my job. Like, I have to right now. And at first I'm like, this is a little crazy. I probably shouldn't do this. But I was like, okay, I'm going to listen. I followed that instinct. That same day, I turned in all of my stuff. I was like, I'm quitting on the spot. And I hated that job. So it was like,
Yeah,
let's
but
turn
still,
this in.
you're in this identity crisis. You're in this like,
But, and I was like, I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like, this is, my soul is telling me if you don't quit your job right now, like something really bad's going to happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll listen. So then I text my manager at the float spa and I'm like, hey, like, can I pick up extra hours? I just quit my marketing job. I just know I have to quit. I'm like, I need to change directions. I started networking like crazy, like within, again, the plant medicine space, but in Pittsburgh. I was sending so many messages on LinkedIn. Like, I didn't just quit and just be like, oh, whatever. Like, no, like I'm going to get involved in the plant medicine space. And I was working more hours at the float spa. I was floating like 2 hours every night after my shift would end. And I was also studying Joe Dispenza, and he talks about brain and heart coherence. So you're aligning your thoughts and your emotions with your desired outcome. And I just kept myself in that positive energy. I was meditating all the time, working at the float spa, networking in the psychedelic space. And through a series of events, I was supposed to have, so I'll take you through the whole series
please.
of how I
I'm like
manifested this.
super invested.
So I signed up for this event like 2 days after I quit my job. And I was like, it was called Live Your Courageous Life at a local yoga studio. And actually the girl I was working at the float spa with like showed me the event. And I was like, oh, I should go do this. Like, I just quit my job. This life coach is running this event. I want to live a courageous life. So I signed up, and the event got canceled. And she emailed me and she's like, hey, like, can I offer you a one-on-one? I was like, sure, like a free one-on-one, because the event got canceled. It ended up just turning into a conversation. I told her about what I wanted to do. I'm like, do you know anyone? She pointed me in the direction of a local metaphysical shop. It's called Inner Light over in Mount Lebanon. And the owner at the time, her name's Kelly. She actually doesn't own it anymore, but she does like drum circles, and she's very involved in the community I was trying to get into. So I had a conversation with her. I took my camera to the shop and I took photos of her shop just to say thank you for her time. And I posted them on LinkedIn and just did a little write-up of like, went over to Inner Light today, had a great experience with Kelly. Thank you so much. She sent me in the direction of a couple different people. At this point, I was considering going back to school for psychedelic assisted therapy. So I was kind of leading with that. But because I posted those photos on LinkedIn, one of my closest friends, Quest, commented on my post. He was like, I love Inner Light. And I clicked on his profile and he does everything that I wanted to do. And I'm like, can we meet for coffee? So the next day we met for coffee. This is all within a week.
You weren't friends at this point.
No. I'm like, how am I even connected with this guy?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Some random guy
Commented on my LinkedIn, and he's like, does everything I want to do. And I'm like, well, let's get coffee. So the next day we get coffee. And this is all within a week of me quitting my job. So this is happening really fast. I sit down with him for coffee. And I tell him everything I want to do. And by the end of our conversation, like 20 minutes after I leave, he sends me a DM. And it's this yoga retreat center. And they're looking for a photographer and social media manager. And they had just posted. And I was like, no way. And I like immediately DM them. They're in Guatemala. I'm like, no way, I'll get this. But like, hey, like I just quit my job. I would love an opportunity to work for you.
I'm available.
And they're like, when can you start? Basically. So within 2 weeks of me quitting my job, I end up in Guatemala.
Dang. That's interesting. Hell of a story.
Yeah.
Like how, okay, so walk us through, because I'm not done. Walk us through that you get the job.
I was like,
now
this can't be real.
You have to go to a different country.
Oh, I was so scared because I've never really been out of the country. And I'm like, my first time out of the country, I go to Guatemala. Like I have to.
Yeah, you've heard the things. Rumors or not, we've heard them. So it's like, I'm going to go.
Well, and I'm like doing the research, like how do I get, because the lake is like so far removed. I'm like, how do I get to this lake? And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to figure it out. You fly to Guatemala City. It's not really the safest place. So like I get a nice hotel and then I have to take like a 4-hour little bus ride to this lake.
Bus ride, 4
like
hours.
And I don't speak Spanish. And I go into this like last minute, like I didn't have time to prepare and learn any Spanish. Like I'm like, hola, do you speak English?
And there's no like translator apps because that was. Yeah,
But
those are
luckily,
just coming out.
I had friends like, on the bus, other travelers, backpackers, and I'm like, do you speak English? And there were some people who spoke some broken English, and I made my way there. But yeah, everyone around me thought it was a little bit crazy at the time. They're like, you're going where?
I keep it very blunt. I can see why they would think that.
But I needed to do it.
You quit your job.
And I didn't tell. So when I quit my job, I didn't tell anyone. I only told one of my best friends, Ellie, because I actually told her, I'm like, I feel something really big coming to me and I can't explain it. And like, I was like, if I tell anyone else, they won't believe me. And you're the only person I'm going to tell. I didn't even tell anyone else I quit my job. And so I didn't even tell like my family that I quit my job until I bought the tickets to Guatemala. I'm like, I quit my job and I'm on my way to Guatemala.
They just had data dump.
Yeah. And I told them like the day before I left because I'm like, they would try to stop me. So I'm like, no, I'm going to buy the tickets, book the flights. I'm going. No one can tell me otherwise. Because up to this point, I'd been living for everyone else. And I'm like, I have to heal this.
This is
and
your
like,
decision. This
right.
is
This
for
is the
you.
first time in my life I'm living for me. And like, I don't care what you have to say. And I'm like, can you please watch my dog for 3 months? And they did. They helped me out. They watched my dog. They were not happy about it at first. But then by the end of it, they're like, we're really proud of you.
That's how most big things happen.
Yes.
It's like you receive a lot of friction, whether it's internal, external, and then something awesome happens. And by the end of it, everyone's like, wow,
yeah, like
we thought you were crazy, but like
now we see it.
Now we see it.
Right. And now like looking back on everything, I'm like, I have a really cool story. Like I've lived through so many different things because I say yes when everyone's like, you shouldn't say yes to that. I'm like, but when you say yes to those crazy things, you look back and you have this amazing life.
What do you think? Because Guatemala is a lot of jungle,
yes.
right? And you said you were at a lake, which I'm assuming is surrounded by maybe jungle.
Yeah. So I was at Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. It's a very spiritual space. Like it's known for that. It's because there's an active volcano around the lake and there are 2 other volcanoes around the lake, but one is active. So it's underneath the lake is all black obsidian, which just absorbs the negativity. So that place is just a vortex, and people end up there when they're meant to end up there. And it's a very healing space, and I can't explain it, but it's super magical there.
I was going to ask, what did that jungle and isolation, what did that lake give you that home here couldn't give you?
Solitude and an environment that I was able to separate myself from the environment that formed me. And it gave me an opportunity to like really get clear on like, who even am I away from this? No one knew me there. It was like, you didn't hear anything other than like birds. And where I was living, it was only acoustic live music. There was no like very minimal screens. Everyone was like backpacking. Some of my friends had been traveling for years at a time there. When I first got there though, I was like, what did I do? Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm like, am I okay? Or like, am I a little manic? Like, how did I end up here? But the first 2 weeks I was just like, oh no, like what have I done?
So you were still feeling that like the identity. It's like, man, was this a good decision?
Yeah, because at this point I'm like, I've completely detached from this other identity and I'm in this liminal space of trying to find myself, and it just felt like I was attached to nothing and I was in between worlds. And it was odd, even at the retreat center I felt like I didn't fully fit in because I was being paid to be there. So like I lived there for 3 months, but everyone else that was there the same time frame I was volunteering or paying to be there. So in a way, I was still an outsider. And it was like, I wasn't a guest, but I wasn't a karmic yogi who volunteers, but I was being paid to be there. So like I was getting paid to sit in these plant medicine ceremonies. Like, and that's
a win in my book, if
right?
you ask me.
That was such a divine gift. The whole thing I just felt like was a gift from God. Like it was an answered prayer. And the whole plane ride to Guatemala, like I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm like, how is this real? And like, this is everything I've been praying for. And
I was gonna ask, like, because I'm a God-fearing man, right? Faith is big in my life, and I know it looks differently in people's lives. So I was gonna ask, like, because I've heard you say prayers and all that. So like, how does that connect with what you were doing at the lake? Because like that's like a big freeing,
yes. So
like touch the grass kind of stuff, which I've
that's my style.
Grounding is great. Grounding is good. Like, how does that tie in with
my relationship to God?
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to.
So I'm not religious. I don't follow like a strict protocol for religion. Like it just is what it is to me. And I felt God, and I feel God in nature. And through plant medicine ceremonies, like it is this, I think God to me is this all-encompassing energy that is love. I think that everything is God and everything is love, and that is how I define my relationship to God. And I call it God. A lot of people refer to it as the universe when I speak to it in that way.
Well, it's like, I mean, God is the universe.
Right.
Universe
It
is
feels
the
like God.
Yeah.
Like the first time that I felt God, I'm like, oh, that is God. And like, I cannot deny that. And I feel like I live my life in a way that is a living prayer. Like I am in constant communication with God. It feels like through my intuition.
You know what's crazy?
What?
That's what it's supposed to be. A
And
relationship.
that's what it is to me. And I'm like, and I know when God is talking to
Yeah.
me. And if I don't listen, it gets louder and louder. The lessons get harder. And I'm like, why didn't I just listen the first time I heard this? But it's
Why
like,
didn't we listen thousands of years ago when he walked with us? Instead,
Right.
we do our own thing. No, that's interesting. I think do you read?
yes.
Have you ever heard Don't Believe Everything You Think? It's an amazing book. And it's written in a way that, so they talk about unlimited intelligence, whether it's God, whether it's the universe. There's this thing that exists that when we quiet our minds, right? Because a lot of the stuff we say and do and think is stuff that we say, do, and think, right? You talk about this connection, right? And going to this lake where it's quiet. You disconnect yourself. This book talks about all of that. Like when you quiet your mind and listen,
That's when you get those
that's when you get
intuitive knowings.
Yes.
Well, it's so funny you say that because that's how the art of being seen came to be. It was when I quieted my mind, and it was in these liminal spaces where I get quiet and I have this knowing, and it just like I immediately take action on that. You have to eliminate the time between idea and action, and I'm really good at just acting on those ideas when I have them.
Okay. So there's different schools of thought with this. I'm big on, if you have that idea, take action towards it.
Yes.
But then there's people who will say, well, if you have that idea, think on it, plan on it, take the appropriate steps to it. What is your thought on that?
I don't really plan too much because I think that
Fly
anytime
by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, because
kinda
anytime I plan, it never goes to plan anyways, and I learn so much more by doing. Like I just get in there and I do, and I figure it out as we go. Like I think that fear stops a lot of people from just taking action, and they try to keep themselves safe by planning.
I have like 3 blog posts about this. How fear is paralysis, and how doing you learn, and how a lot of us, what we do is we overplan something so much we'll never even get it started.
Right.
Where if you would have just started it, made your mistakes, learned your lessons, applied them, and redid it, you'd be so much further.
Right. And you leave room for it to evolve. Like when
Yeah.
I initially started the art of being seen, it was so different than what it is now. And because I created that space and got quiet enough to listen and know when to pivot.
I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who've believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com. So walk us through how did that come to be? So was this after the Guatemala excursion?
Yeah, it all started with Guatemala, I feel like. So even
That's
on my wall, like
what do they call something that happens and then a lot of things happen from that point of origin?
Okay, yes,
Guatemala is
it
a
was.
point of origin. Okay.
Yes. So I healed so much while I was in Guatemala. I looked at this sexual assault that had happened. I sat with that. I sat with myself. I started to find myself again. And I'm like, oh, like this is me. And so for a year after Guatemala, again, spent a lot of time in isolation. I worked at a different float spa, was floating pretty regularly. Didn't know what I was going to do. I'm like, I can't go back to a 9 to 5. I was doing more photography work and floating a lot, but at the same time feeling unfulfilled. And I'm like, I feel like I have to serve and I don't know what that looks like. So about a year after Guatemala, it was April of 2024, I had a falling out with some people. And again, I felt really unseen in the situation where it was like, I don't have to get into the details, but I felt unseen. And in that moment, I was like, how am I here again? Like I took all this time to heal and like still people aren't seeing me. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to see me. Like it doesn't matter. I need to choose to see myself. And that's all that matters. And I was like, because of this event that happened, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I choose to see myself always. And I need to make spaces where other people feel seen. Like this feels like my life's purpose. I never want anyone to feel the way that I'm feeling right now. And then I was like, how can I do this? Because I knew I was meant to be a space holder and I have this skill of photography. So the art of being seen, I was like, okay, I can combine space holding with photography and it can be like a documentary style portrait session. And that's how it started initially. Because I was like, I'm not getting into video. Like, I don't want to learn videography. And I was so against
here
it.
Here you are now, huh?
Yeah. So I was like, I'll do a short little interview with them, like a couple minutes on my phone. So that's how it started. And about a year ago, I did the first interview. So I announced the art of being seen and I got so much interest and it really surprised me how much interest I got.
Okay. So you were already working with photography.
Yes. So I was posting a lot on socials with photography.
And then you used photography to kind of bring the images. Oh, you used
to
the
tell
art
a
of being
story.
seen to bring the images to life, to share a story.
Yeah. So the idea was, okay, I'm going to do a portrait series and an interview to tell their story. And I want the portrait series to like tell the story of who they are. And it was mostly focused on healing. So I wanted to work with people who had been through a lot and came out on the other side because that's what I'd been through. And I'm like, I want to tell these stories. So that's how it started. I announced it on my Instagram story. Again, I had this idea. It was like a download. And within a couple minutes, posted it on my story, made a little graphic, and I take action immediately. I had a lot of interest, and by that point, I had like a couple booked out for like the next month. So it started as the first one was 7 minutes on my iPhone camera. The quality was so bad, and we were out in nature, and it was just like a little interview, and then we did a bunch of portrait series. We did like 3 different locations to kind of tell the story. It was a woman just coming back to her power. So like we hiked and we got on top of a mountain and like that was the first one.
This was the story you were sharing.
Yes.
Interesting.
That was the first story I told.
Interesting.
Yes.
How much it resonates.
Yes. She was one of my close friends. So that evolved. And by the end of it, I did 35 of these within 7 months. And this was much longer format. Like it took me much longer to edit these. I was putting in so much time into these. Like it was more interview process. It wasn't the cards that I prepared ahead of time. They were longer interviews telling like the full story of someone. So this went on for 7 months. I did about 35 interviews and by the end I was charging for it. And I had a full setup camera and like I was in the videography space and it was more video focused than photo, but I was still like sad because I'm like, but I'm a photographer. Like, do you guys not care about my photography? And then everyone wanted the video and I'm like, okay.
I've seen the photos you have on your wall, on your set. That's like your stuff.
Those are all the photos from the art of being seen.
Those are so good.
Thank you.
Those are so good.
Thank you.
I suck at photography. I'll admit it. Like I will work with video all day. You can hide a lot of things.
Photo's so much easier than video.
No, see, I'll disagree because with video you can hide in your shots and your movements. You can hide a lot of errors and laziness. And I'm being completely frank here. You can hide a lot, right? Mm-hmm. If you have an awesome shot, your editing can suck. Like your color matching can suck. Your color grading can suck.
Yeah.
You have a cool shot. If it's a cool story, you don't even need the cool shot. This person's story is awesome. Or the person with photography, it's still.
Right.
The more you look at it, the more you will notice. They say a picture says 1,000 words. Why? Because the more we stare at this, the more imperfection you see, or the more beauty you see, or the more hidden things you can see, right? Like for example, if someone's just staring at you, mm-hmm. What do we do when we're uncomfortable? We start moving. Why? Because that's a comfort zone. You can hide, like, oh, they can't see me if I duck my head, right? But that's
Yeah, you
how I
can't move in a
envision.
photo.
Yeah, you can't move in a photo. That's what you took is what you took, and you're showing it to the world. Like, this is it. This is the glimpse. How do I tell my story with this thing? You have to take the perfect photo or the perceived perfect photo.
Well, and I also think that I have a gift for seeing people and telling their stories through my lens. So I think that
don't.
all plays into that.
Yeah, I don't. So photo is tough. And but like what's so interesting is it looks easy, right? You point, you shoot, cool, you got it. Take a photo with your iPhone and then look at one of Talie's photos on her wall. Like zoom in. I'm about to put you on the spot. Zoom in at one
Zoom
of
in
her
on the wall.
thumbnails and look at the photos. When I turned around and saw it, like every photo I can tell my own story. Like I can, like, oh, this reminds, like, there was one where I think it was like a sky, and I was like, someone's like laying down, looking up, and contemplating like that moment in their life. What is that moment in their life? For me, that moment is this, right? Like we can start connecting, and we can tell our own story with this photo, and yours do that very well.
Thank
but if
you.
I posted a photo, it's not gonna do
You're not a
that.
photographer.
Yeah, well, I know. So like, it's a skill, and I think you've done it very well. And it's
Thank you.
interesting how you went from shooting people's stories, right? Because wedding photography, you're shooting their love story, and then the art of being seen, you're now like expanding,
Yes.
and then you're getting into the video stuff and what's going through your head.
So around November, this past November, I just felt really stuck in the art of being seen. It started to feel really heavy because I felt like I'd moved through a lot of the heaviness I was feeling, and I wanted more like light, playful energy. I'm like, I'm done with this like deep inner work. Like we've done enough. And I want to feel embodied and enjoy my life because I'd been operating from such a dark place my whole life. So I was like, I need something that feels lighter because this is too much for me. It became too much work. I wasn't really getting what I wanted out of it. Like it didn't feel fulfilling to me. I was serving in some way, but at the same time, not as many people were as interested. So I was like, something needs to change. I moved into a new space. January 1st, I got a new apartment. I printed out all the photos from the art of being seen. And initially I was like, I took so much time to plan out the setup because I was like, I'm going to do talking head content and like talk about my mission and like get more people involved in this. And I thought it was for me. And I put all these pictures on the wall and I was like, thank you for being here. I wrote it all out and I hung everything up. And for like 2 days, it was on my wall. I did a couple talking head videos, but something just felt off. I was feeling really frustrated.
You were feeling very seen.
Yes, but I was also feeling really frustrated where I'm like, this feels like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And again, I said a prayer and one of my favorite things to do when I feel stuck is I dance. And I put music on and I danced around my living room for like an hour. And then I sat down in meditation. And like immediately, as soon as I sat down, it was like hot seat. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do a hot seat. And that was like, it was an intuitive knowing. And it was like a download. And I truly believe like everything I do, that's how the art of being seen came to me initially too. It was just like a knowing I have to do this. And I can't explain it, but it's communication that isn't me. And I think what I'm doing, I look back on it and I'm like, that's not me. Like that is God moving through me. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I had that knowing. I'm like a hot seat. This was January 15th. By the end of that day, I had a whole week booked out of people who wanted to sit in the hot seat. And within 2 minutes of the idea, I'm posting on my story. And like by the end of the day, fully booked out for a week. And since then, I've just been running with it.
So you didn't even like, it came to you.
Immediately made a graphic and I'm like, who wants to do it?
So I operate like that. And my wife gives me stuff sometimes and she's like,
slow down.
Yeah. So like we're working on a project that we don't want to divulge, but long story short, I like buy the equipment for it and we're like, oh, we'll mess around. Well, like we'll joke around with it. It'll be a hobby. And then I created the Instagram, the email.
You're like, oh no, it's not a hobby anymore.
So like, but that's how I operate, right? When something comes to me, whether it's an issue or not, some people say it's an issue, I'm all in. When I have that feeling, that connection, that I'm like this, like let's do it. Like the podcast. I've wanted to do a podcast for so long, years, and I just didn't know the approach. I didn't have the equipment, all the excuses I give myself. And then it came to, I've had conversations with people like, you do this, and you're scared to talk in front of a camera. And I'm like, when you put it that way, it sounds kind of silly. Yeah.
Right.
So I one day I just sit down and I got to do a logo. Let me start with the logo. Let me do it. And then the color scheme, the colors have changed throughout the years, but I just sat down and it's like hammer, 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 boom. Now I got to record. So I sit in front of it and I film it like 15 times. And I'm like, I hate it. Like, I hate talking about myself. I hate that it's just me. I sound dumb. English is my second language. So it's something that's always in the back of my head. I stutter, ums and ahs, which people hate. So I'm like, I'm very hard on myself. And then I film it again. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm keeping it. I'm posting it. And I just post it. First episode's out.
That's the way to do it.
And
it's
then,
never gonna be perfect.
You just have to go.
And you have to let yourself improve as you go. Like, you have to allow yourself to be seen in your process. That's what I'm learning, is like, you just have to start. Because when I first started posting video content, I was like, this is horrible. This is awful. Like, no one wants to watch this. And now it's just second nature, where I set up my phone. It takes me 2 seconds to record a little talking video and I send it off and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. And it looks polished, and you've curated that.
Right.
And in that process, same, right? Like, I was filming with an iPhone. Then I went to GoPros. Then I had one camera. And then I had one camera, 2 GoPro. So the whole process has evolved.
Well, it has to, because if you try to just immediately jump into like 3 camera setup, you're in over your head. You're like, what am I doing? Like, if I would have started with the setup I have now, I wouldn't have known what I was doing. Like, it had to naturally progress from iPhone to camera. I'm slowly learning as I'm going. You can't plan for that.
So you have this, you post that, and you're booked out now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What is that telling you? Like,
I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, no doubt. And then it just completely blew up, like, in a way of like, I have 200 applicants right now. And it's been like, what, like
overwhelming.
3 months. Yeah. And people are like, DM me like, hey, did you see my application yet? And I'm like,
Like,
oh my gosh, guys.
No.
Like, I'm one girl, please.
She is literally one person operation.
Like, I don't think that people see all that goes into this, because it's not just like, oh, come sit in the hot seat and like, bye, I'm posting now. It's like, so much editing time goes into this, so much planning, so much scheduling. I'm like, guys, I'm working 24/7. Like, I don't really sleep that much.
Literally 24/7. Like, we filmed ours, and then the fact that you even had something up within I'm like, wow, that's wild. Like, it's for me, like, people don't understand the process. Like, I have sanity I still need too, right? So like,
Yeah.
if I sat in front of this thing 24/7, we'd go crazy. And you're doing that, but you're doing it well.
But I'm not in front of the camera.
Yeah, you're not in front of the
separate.
camera, but you're like, there's a lot. You have to think of the questions. You have to write the questions down. Then,
Well, that's like, I do so much research on everyone too.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you guys not know that I like stalk you before you come sit in the seat? Like, I already know the angle I want to take.
yeah, and if you sounds weird if you're not in the business, but in the business, it's like, you have to.
Right,
you
I
have
want
to
this to be a good
stalk them.
interview.
Yeah, like, I need to know about you. When I first started, I didn't do that, and then I started doing. I would send the guest. This is the mistake I made. I would send the guest I would have like questions that I wanted to answer. And I'm like, I just got to get these questions in. There's no order, no rhyme or reason. I'm like, I just got to get them in when they fit. I made the mistake of sending them. Well, now what does that tell the guest?
Then they're preparing everything.
I have to have these answers.
Yeah.
I had a doctor.
And then they're trying to remember their answers.
Yes.
And then you're like,
I had a doctor. No, he was a chiropractor. Sorry. Let me not confuse those. I just got canceled. He was a chiropractor. Very smart dude. I sit down with him, and he brings out this book,
You're like,
a
okay.
notebook. I'm like, oh, what is all that? He's like, well, the questions you sent me, I've developed answers for them. And I'm like, that's what we're not going to do. I was like, I promise, like, the answers will come to you. The fact that you sat down and wrote the answer, they're in there. I said, well, you don't need them. I promise you're going to be fine. And like, I would find him like trying to answer it how he answered it on his notebook. So like, all this to say, like, we're always refining the process. And then I'm like, I can't send the questions. I'll do it. And I go out to LA, I film out at Electric Pony Studios, and I'm like, oh, show sheets. But that's just for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just for me to keep myself in and like control as much as I can control. I can control the intro. I can control the outro. You know, I tell you like, oh, this is what, in stalking you, this is kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah.
And if you tell me like, oh yeah, that is wow, you see me.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Now I can approach the conversation in a way. Wow, you saw that, I saw that. Or if you're like, where'd you get that from? Well, now I got to do some more homework. But like all this to say, you refine the process by doing. If I sat here before I ever started the podcast and I'm like, how do I make the perfect podcast? I would still be sitting down thinking.
Right.
You know, have you ever heard the story of the perfect pot? So I don't know if it's for real or a metaphor or what, but I'm writing a book called Not Good Enough, The Path of Relentlessness. And in my research, I came across this story where there's a class and half the class is told to think and make the perfect pot. You have all class and you'll be graded about in regard to how perfect your pot is. The second half of the class, they're getting graded with how many pots they can put out. You will be graded with the amount, the volume of pots you guys produce. So one half of the class is just thinking and planning and doing research about making the perfect pot. The other half, just pumping out as many pots as they can make out of clay. Well, what they found was at the end, the group who had to make the most pots had the best pots overall over the group who just had to make one perfect pot. And that's because they've had to refine. Every time they made a pot, they changed something, they improved something, they made something more efficient. They learned about how to make the pot better. Where this group, all the planning in the world, they only applied it one time, and it's in that first application. So the more you do, the more you move, the more you work, the more you learn.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I
That's
think if you plan too much, then you are too rigid and you don't allow for yourself to pivot when you need to pivot. Like if you approach it with a fun mentality and like, I'm just going to try a bunch of things and see what works, you're giving yourself more opportunity to find success. And I like to have room to pivot and I can change directions. And like, if this isn't working anymore, like what's next? Like, I don't think that the hot seat's forever. Like, I'm sure that it will evolve into something else, or like my goal is to travel and do this. So like maybe the set will change, but I'm open to whatever it needs to become as long as I'm fulfilling the purpose that I feel.
You know what I see in your future? Just came to me. How do you feel about, like, you ever seen the people who convert buses? And
Stop. A van life? That's already what I had in mind. So before all this, I'm like, I'm going to do van life and I'm going to travel. And I'm like, I could do a traveling hot seat. You read my mind.
Rest my case, Your Honor. Literally, I was like, I can see you like.
But it would have to be like an RV so I can like live in it. And then
or a bus.
Also,
I've seen the school buses.
Bus
They've made it like insane how creative people can be. Like 2 bathrooms, a master bedroom, all in a school bus. We couldn't fit 10 kids in my school bus when I was growing up. I don't know how people are doing this, but that's what I see. Like a traveling, like, and you're documenting,
that's
you're
what
vlogging, which is video.
It's just a matter of like, okay, how do I make this reality? Like, how do I pay for this? How do I fund all of this? And I trust that will come with time.
With the hot seat.
Yeah. But I need to monetize that first. So that's why it is a numbers game. But it is like, how much can I do while maintaining the quality and still giving to the people in the way that I want to? Like, I never want it to feel transactional. I want it to feel like I'm providing for the people who sit in the seat. I want it to be a healing experience. And I never want to lose that in pursuit of growing the platform, even though if I grow the platform, I can serve more people and I can serve at more of a high level where I'm bringing more of an audience to the people who sit in the seat. So I have a duty to grow my platform, and I've always felt that, but it used to feel egotistical to say that. And now I'm just owning it because nothing that I'm doing is ego driven.
Well, how does it benefit any of your guests if no one ever sees it?
Right. I'm like, guys, I need to grow my platform.
But like, that's the struggle I run into. I started accepting sponsors, which was like a dagger to myself. I'm like, I don't want to be a sellout. And then I'm like, I won't be a sellout because I only pick specific. I've had organizations, apps, groups reach out and they're like, we'll pay you this much. And I'm just like, I've never heard of you. I don't know what you do. Like, can I try it? I'll pay for it.
Right.
And then I do some research and I'm like, ooh, I don't like how these people
yeah,
vibe.
if you don't believe in it.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that. I just said no to money, right? Like, so I'm like, like, where do I find the midpoint of, I want to grow this so your story can be heard and you can be seen. But like, I also don't want to sell out in a way where people are like, oh, this is just like, I'm not even going to take the time to listen. So it is a very nuanced on how to approach that, which I still don't know how to do, right? Like I'm not monetized. I'm demonetized. I pay a lot of money to do this. But it's worth it to me. It's something I stand by because every conversation I've had, I take things from, right? Like it's also kind of selfish. I learn from every guest I have.
That is the biggest thing. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm taking so much from everyone. I'm learning so much from each person that sits in my seat.
Stealing.
And it's a gift because every person that sits in my seat introduces me to new parts of myself. And it's so fun right now because I'm still learning myself. Like I'm still like, who is Talie authentically? And when I have different energies in my space, it's like I get to try on different things and meet different parts of myself because I'm exposed to so many different people. And it's in my space, so it makes it more sacred and special. And I feel like I'm helping people climb the mountain, and I'm also climbing the mountain with them.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to ask, like, you went your whole life feeling unseen, and you're kind of behind this camera, still unseen, but now you're helping people to be seen. With the irony, there's so much irony there. But like, how is that feeling of you're still behind the camera, right? The attention's not on you, but you're building this platform where people, right? And I kind of have my own platform. So like for me, it's like a different way of like now I have to be self-reflective on myself, which was tough. I have to look inward, which is tough. But for a lot of people on your platform, they're never in front of a camera. This is the first time. And now they're getting asked hard questions. But like there's this process they're involved in while they're in the hot seat. And they're growing through it. And you're helping them do that. Like how does that feel? Does it feel like a superpower? Or?
I mean, it feels like I'm meant to be a space holder, and I know that, and I don't think that I'm meant to be in the spotlight in that way. Like I think I'm meant to have a big platform, but for other people. And I think that it almost feels like I'm holding their hand while they're doing this scary thing. And I'm like, you can do it. Like, it's okay. Go. And like everyone says it feels really comfortable. And like a lot of people say it feels like their therapy chair. And I'm like, good. Like cry it out. Like you're crying on camera, but they kind of forget the camera's there.
I would say, have you ever had anyone express some heavy emotions?
Oh yeah. Like
during that?
Most people end up crying at some point. That's why I have tissues next to the hot seat.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't cry.
I cried inside all the time. No. Yeah, no, it's cool that you're like that's something you're involved in. And that all happened after you just turned. When did you turn 30?
January 26th.
January.
So it was like right around my birthday, I started the hot seat.
It's like the awakening.
Yeah, I was like, the 30s, let's go. And I was also like, kind of like, I think photography's dying. Like, I think that, like, that was my 20s, photography. And then I feel
dying
like.
to you.
Yes. Like, okay. And I'm evolving into something more because I feel like I'm fully stepping into my gifts. Like, I've always felt like I'm meant to be a healer to some capacity. And I feel like that's what I'm doing through the hot seat. And this, like, I have no doubt that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So 2026 was a big defining moment for you, right? Like your first 30 years, we kind of, not to generalize, but like was like dark, right? And now there's this.
Oh, I'm like light, in the light.
Right?
I'm like
in the light. You're
it's
facing
like I grabbed
the
mic and I got on stage. I'm like, hey guys, I'm here. Like I finally arrived. And it's funny. I finally feel people like seeing me. And that is so odd because I feel like people actually care what I have to say now. And I'm
Which is interesting.
And so sitting with that, I'm like, why do you care? Like, why are you asking me questions? Because I'm not used to this. I'm used to like being behind the scenes and like no one's too interested in me because I'm hiding. But now that I'm out, like I feel the attention and it's very odd. Like it makes me uncomfortable in a way. Yeah,
it's something I'm learning as well, right? Like when especially like you're very intentional with yours. Like me, I try to put all the attention on the other person. Like I'm like, it's like you hide behind yours. I can't hide. So like when I'm out, people are like, "Oh man, I've watched," and I'm like, "Hey, like, what's your favorite episode?" Like, let's take this off of me, please. But it's also cool. Like sometimes I sit at home and I'm like, "Wow, like this is actually going somewhere." Whether it's like 2 people or 100 people. Right, those are 100 people. Like if 100 people were sitting in this room, that'd be overwhelming. We'd be like, "Can some of you get out, please? Like I love you all, but I need space." So it's like it's this thing that you have to lean into a little bit because you're trying to build something with good intention, right? Like, if someone, I've seen some people walk around and they're like, yeah, I'm just like, I don't even want to watch your stuff anymore.
Right.
Because like, I
You're too
thought you were
cocky
cool.
with
I
it.
thought you were cool. I thought, but like, you're not.
Right.
Like, this is a character you play. And
Right.
I don't believe in like playing characters.
Well, intention is everything. It's like, what's driving you to do this, right?
For sure. So like 2026, darkness to light, but also like a theme is like you breaking away from stuff, right? Like you
I
left.
was so much broke. Even when I started the hot seat, like almost all of my friendships just fell away. And like, it was like I entered this whole new realm. I'm like, nothing, I don't know anything. I don't recognize anything. I don't recognize myself. Who am I? And like, it's been a constant evolution. Throughout my 20s were really messy in terms of friendships, even because I kept evolving and I kept changing and I was trying on different identities and like, who am I? So it was really hard to maintain any sort of relationships. So I've been very much a lone wolf my whole life trying to find myself.
What have you found?
Myself. I mean,
but like I said, like how hard is it? That was a trick question, by the way. Like how hard is it or how easy is it now that you've gone through this process to go, you know what? This isn't working for me. This isn't working for you. I'm going to go this way.
Well, it's so easy for me now. Like I feel very detached. I don't really believe in this concept of forever, and I'm not overly attached to things lasting a certain amount of time. It's like they serve their purpose when they need to, and the people in my life will be here when they need to be, and I don't need to force anything. And like I said, I'm more committed to my life's purpose. So if anything gets in the way of that, it has to go. And I feel the same for anyone else. So like if I'm in a dynamic, like a friendship or relationship, and it feels like either of us are getting in the way of each other's life purpose, like it's not meant to be. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with detachment because it's like, I want you to live your most fully expressed life and live the life of your dreams. And I never want to stop anyone from doing that.
What about, how does that work with marriage? Right?
Well, that's
a
I think
tough
it takes
question.
a really, because I want to get married and I want to have kids.
That's a forever thing. Or
yes,
is that...
but I don't believe in this. Like I'll never say forever to someone because forever isn't real, because eventually someone dies, you know, like that's an inevitable thing. Eventually the relationship will end. Like one of you will die first.
Or together, if
you're lucky,
if you're that kind of ride or die.
So like I believe in commitment and I want commitment, and I'm very intentional about who gets my time and energy. But like I said, I need someone who's more committed to something bigger than them, and we can come together and work towards our goals together. But we are always second to our passion, our purpose, our relationship to God, because everything that I'm doing is to be of service to God. Like the core of who I am is a child of God. And I always have to listen to that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So God is
like
my guiding, like it's my compass, and I follow that everywhere. Like I said, I want a relationship. I want kids. I'm still working out what that looks like. I think it would be a very unique
Maybe
marriage.
there's a young lad listening right now who's like,
if you're listening.
We got the same purpose in mind. He's got the cold seat. You got the hot seat.
Perfect match.
No. Okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay. So this is like everything to you right now.
Oh, everything.
Like, is it scary?
No. I mean, it feels like I just need, like I so badly just want it to work. Like, and I'm pouring everything into this. It's like my heart and soul I pour into this. Like I said, I work 24/7. When I'm not working, I'm working out. Like that's all I do. I eat, sleep, breathe this. And there's no way for it to fail.
How do you protect this? How do you protect what you're building? The relationships, right? Because like when we're building towards something, we have to protect that. Whether it's, you mentioned who you let surround you.
Yeah.
Like how do you go
well,
about
honestly,
that?
I'm in a period of solitude right now. I don't have many people around me.
The blinds are closed.
Yeah.
No one can look in.
I'm just doing the work, and I think I don't really have that support system or like group of friends building with me, and I've looked for it, but I truly just think I'm meant to walk this alone, and I'm meant to build it alone, and like I will find my people along the way, and I'm not looking for it right now. So the protection is energetically just being intentional about where I'm putting my time, and I've just kind of been okay with like not having a social life right now, because in a way the hot seat fills my cup in some ways socially, and I'm learning for the first time in my life I'm being fully self-sufficient in terms of like my emotional health. I'm not relying on anyone.
Oh, that's big.
And I used to fall into codependency patterns. So for the first time in my life, I'm really in solitude. I'm building alone. Like I am emotionally very well. I'm like, I've never been this happy in my life. And I'm just really happy with where I am, and I love what I'm building. And I've gotten to a point where like I used to think that having a kid, like having kids with someone I loved was like the most important thing in my life. And finally, like I feel like, well, if that never happens for me, then at least like I have this beautiful project that I'm building, and that can take the place of this, because you can't force that, right? Like I can't force if I fall in love and have kids, it's what I want, but this can take the place of that.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of, I use depression because I don't have a better word for it. I'm not very well versed, but like we have this image, right? Like we want marriage and kids, that we will do anything to force that. And it's like, you know what? If and when you get married and you have kids, that may be the center of your life. That's okay.
Right.
But like that's if and when that happens. What ends up happening is we look towards that and we're like, I don't have that right now. Now I'm.
But then your life is empty because you're looking for it.
Because you're looking for that and you're chasing it, and it's like, well, what is filling your cup right now?
Right, and then
Like,
what kind of
that's what you need to
partner are you
focus.
going to be if you're just looking for that? You're not focusing your attention anywhere else. Like I'm building a really cool life so that one day I have kids and they're like, wow, my mom's so cool. She has this full life, and I'm not just a mom.
Yeah, and you're learning things that you can bring into your motherhood.
Right.
Right? It's like you're chasing something. Like, this is the thing. We bird dog on things, right? We're chasing something so bad and we're not getting it. So now we start burning bridges and breaking rooms and cutting relationships and all that just to get there. Like, I need this so bad. And then you get there, right? It's like being in the wrong room, right? And then you get there and you're like, wow, this isn't serving its purpose for me.
Right.
Well, it's like, no, because you didn't
You
take the
lost
appropriate
yourself.
steps
Right.
to get there.
Yeah.
You can't appreciate it because you steamrolled everything to get there.
Right.
Just to get the prize, and then you get the prize, and it's like you don't appreciate the prize because you didn't take the appropriate steps, the intentional steps to get there. It's the same with rooms. It's like, we want this room so bad, or I want this recognition so bad, and you burn everything in your path to get there, and then you get it. There's no one to share it with. There's no one to appreciate it. You just got your prize, whatever it is, and you're like, wow, what do I
Yeah.
do now?
Well, I do say I get a little sad sometimes because I do wish I had someone in my life to like share it with. And I'm like, I wish I had someone here to like experience this growth with me, because I'm like, does anyone else see this? Like, well, this is so cool.
Everyone sees it.
But
We
I
all
want
see it,
like, you
but
know, people in my corner, like, you know.
someone's watching or someone's listening. Watch your DMs flood. I'm not a matchmaker.
But I will say, I think that as a woman, it is so important to focus your energy on building a passion and what you love, and the right man will come into your life. I think if you're looking for it, you're not going to attract the right kind of man.
Well, if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it, right? Like, and it's always said as a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, right? Like, if I'm looking for a man, you're gonna find a man.
Well, and I also think, what kind of man?
Exactly.
Like, 'cause
That's the part-
Like,
that's the
I
part
want
we
a
miss
man who
out.
like sees me and sees that. Like, I'm very into the masculine feminine balance, and I think that there is so much importance in focusing on my passions and like not looking for a man.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want a man, you're gonna find a man,
Not the right one.
not the right one, right? But if you're focusing on yourself and building yourself, you're gonna attract. Like, the man's gonna be attracted. Who's gonna see you for what you're doing.
Right.
And
Maybe
who
he's a
you are.
videographer or something.
Wow, then you guys could start the art of being seen, photo and video.
There we go.
Oh no, this is awesome. Okay, we talked about it. Well, you also are planning to run a marathon.
Yes.
Okay, so your projects aren't enough apparently, right? 24/7, but you're also trying to run a marathon. What is the motivation behind that while you're doing all this cool stuff? This is also cool,
Yeah.
but like this is also hard physically. Like,
Yes.
what's that motivation like?
So I was a swimmer growing up, and exercise has always been my sacred time for myself. Like, I don't like to work out with anyone else. So after I quit swimming after my freshman year of college because I was getting faster, and at that point I was an engineering major, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I don't think that this is what I want. I was at Delaware. I ended up dropping out, quit swimming, transferred to WVU, then found out like, oh, I'm artistic. And then I got into marketing and social media, and then also my boyfriend at the time gifted me with a camera, so I got into photography, and I'm like, oh, like this is what I needed. I got into weightlifting. Weightlifting became my outlet from the time I was a junior in college until, I mean, I still weight lift now. But it's,
That's my bread and butter
yeah,
right there.
the gym is just, physical movement does something for me that I can't find anywhere else, where it helps me almost like, it feels like I'm releasing stuck energy in my body, because I just like, I burn so hot. Like I'm constantly on go. It's my time for myself. It's time to just be alone, quiet my mind. And when I push myself really hard, my mind just goes blank and I can't get that anywhere else. So I'm like addicted to pushing my limits. So last summer, so actually the beginning of 2025, I set a goal. I'm like, I'm going to run 4 miles without stopping. And because I was struggling to even run a mile at that point by the end of the year. And I hit that goal in January, and I was like, okay, so like I need to make a bigger goal. So last summer, on a whim, I was going through something emotionally. I'm like, I just need to like process this. I went on a run and I like ran a half marathon, and I was like, okay, so there's something here. Like just on a whim, I ran a half marathon.
You ran a half marathon by accident.
Kind of, yeah. Like I got to up to like 7 miles, and I was like, I should just go for it, right? Like I'm already here. And
Must be nice.
I was processing so much, and it's like I was experiencing the runner's high, and I'm like, why would I stop? I'm like, I'm gonna PR. So then I just randomly, I think it was in like June, randomly ran a half marathon, and then I was like, I should sign up for a full. And I didn't sign up until November. I actually went through a breakup November, and I was like, I need to do something with my body.
Run a full marathon.
I'm like, sign me up. Like, I think the day after I went through this breakup, I'm like, sign me up for the marathon. Like, I need to hurt myself. But like,
that's
it's
wild. In a good way.
no.
I don't even,
It's like, I love to get myself to those edges, because
breaking points.
Yes,
See what you're made of.
I meet new parts of myself, and like beyond that wall, I learn so many valuable lessons. And then that honestly, marathon training is helping me so much with my project, because it's teaching me so much resilience, and it's like, how fast can I run for how long? And like, that's what I'm applying to business, is like, how much can I let my fire burn in this business and the hot seat before I burn out? And like, the further I run and the faster I run, I'm like, oh, I can keep going. And like, I meet my walls with the hot seat, and I'm like, I've been here before because I'm training for a marathon. I'm like, I know this wall, like I can push past this wall. So they go hand in hand.
I just literally the last episode I had this conversation, which for the folks at home was last week, but for you and me, yesterday. I was talking. He talks about that, like the more stress inoculation you put yourself through, the harder you push. You know, right? Like he was a pro fighter. I used to get punched in the face. I get punched in the face willingly. I go into gyms and I participate in fighting, so I get punched in the face. When I'm dealing with a project or someone who's upset, I'm fine because I choose to get punched in the face.
Exactly.
This is okay, right? Like you're choosing to run a marathon. You're choosing to train for it. So when you're having creative block in the hot seat, you're like, let me go jog real quick, come back, because this is fine. Like this, I can deal with this because I willingly do this. So when there's no choice for me in this, I'll find a way.
Right.
People don't, I don't think a lot of people understand, like how going to the gym, choosing to do something hard, or running, or doing jujitsu, doing something physical a lot is hard, causes stress. That translates to your life. When things happen to you, you're like, oh, I just ran 5 miles yesterday for fun. I'll be fine here.
Right.
I'll figure it out.
And I think swimming prepared me for this in a lot of ways.
Swimming
it was a really intense sport.
Stress inoculation.
Yes.
is swimming. You mentioned action over thought. Stop talking and start doing. You can't think your way into what you want, right? Like you have showed us very clearly that your process is just moving, going, figuring it out. When you're feeling paralyzed by trauma or fear, how do you force yourself to take that first physical step? Or is it to the listeners who are like, but I don't know what to do, or I'm too, whatever it may be, whatever excuse. How do you convince yourself to take that first step when you're feeling that fear or that I just don't know what to do? How do you take the first step?
I mean, I really just do it. There's no thinking. You have to get
the
out of
whole
your
point.
head, right? And I think it's just the forward motion. And as soon as you get moving, it's so much easier to maintain that. It's like you can't stop because then you have momentum. Like it's just a snowball effect. So it's really just forcing yourself to take the first step.
which
But-
is just like my analogy for running. I hate running. You know, I go to the gym, I make the decision I have to run, and I'll do it. Right? You should do it first, right? Get it out of the way. Get warm. I'm like, I'll do it after. Well, then you train,
then you
and
don't
then
want
you're
to
hurt,
run.
and you're like, I don't want to do it. So you're like, I'll start with a walk. You get on the treadmill, you start with a walk. And you're like, oh, I'll bump it up to 6. And you're at 6, and now you're at this light jog. And then now that you're there, you're moving, right? Those actionable steps, whether it's walk, crawl, run, whatever, you're taking steps towards that goal. Then you're just like, oh, let me knock it out. Put the
Right.
10 or whatever. And then you run. And then you're like, after you're done, you're like, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I didn't skip.
Yes. It's just taking the next
That
step,
first
whatever
step,
it
yeah.
is.
I like that approach. And that's now, after 33 years, that's like my go-to. And it rubs people the wrong way because I'm like, oh, we should do this. Okay, boom. And I take the step and they're like, well, hold on. We have to, like, you didn't even think this
just do
through.
it.
Ain't nothing to think about. This is the goal. This is the first step towards that goal. Here we are. Like,
Right.
let's just do it. If we got to think, we'll think as we're walking or think as we're going. But now we come to the Relentless Rapid Round. This
Okay.
is something I like doing because, right, like everyone, like you're very good speaker, right? You have very good intentions. So you're like, when you answer, they're very thoughtful. This ain't about any of that. This is quick answers, no explanations,
gosh.
unless you need to, but
Okay.
just no overthinking. And they're fun questions. They're not like life altering questions. So we're going to get the heart rate up. No pun intended. What is the single most beautiful thing you have ever captured on your camera?
Ooh.
Hot seat.
Does it have to be,
Anything.
I mean, weddings for sure.
You just said weddings. Did a specific image or wedding or picture come into mind?
Probably the first wedding that I shot. It was one of my close friends.
Okay. No names, but you know who you are now.
Yeah.
What hurts more, the last 50 meters of a D1 swim meet or mile 20 of a marathon
Oh,
run?
mile 20.
I told you, running sucks, but it's good for you. If you had to describe your 3 months at Lake Attilan,
Lake Attilan.
if you had to describe your 3 months at Lake Attilan in one word, what is it?
Reclamation.
I don't even know what that means, but someone look it up. What does it mean? Reclamation.
I feel like I was
reclaim.
reclaiming my voice in a lot of ways.
Yeah, see, English is my second language. Spanish is my first. What is the most common emotion people show when they sit in the hot seat for the first time?
I'd say fear.
I'll say that's a gimme. That's easy. I felt fear. I'm like, damn, this is about me now. Yeah, the unknown. The unknown does something.
It is
to
the
people.
fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's always. It's like, and then I like when you're like, don't open those yet. And you're like,
They're like, oh,
I
please.
can't I can't get a.
Some people
quick
try to
print.
like sneak. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, camera's on. Camera's on. After surviving the dark and finding the light, what does the word relentless mean to Talie Feola?
Never give up. Keep going. It gets better.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Quote of the year. And as we close everything, this is where you've told us about your story. You were very vulnerable with us. You shared a lot with us. And your story is your story. You own it. But there's a lot of people listening from different backgrounds, different industries, different approaches. But one of the beautiful things about this podcast, I think, is that we can always learn from someone's story if we apply it to our lives correctly. So this is where we kind of dial everything in. You survived trauma, depression, a total identity crisis to build a life of joy and purpose. To the listener sitting in the dark right now, feeling like they're too broken to fix, what is your message to them?
Everything you're learning right now is preparing you for the light. And that's really all that I have to say. I think everything that I learned in the lows gave me the strength to live in the light now. And now I'm more capable to help the people who were where I was. So you're being prepared for something bigger.
Yeah, and it's hard for us to see that when we're in that moment. I call it the mix, right? When we're in that moment, and then the metaphor I always use is you just lost your job. That's tough. You have bills to pay. Maybe you have a family to take care of. Maybe you have projects you're working on that you can't fund now. You losing your job is hard. It's tough. But then you get offered the job of a lifetime, or you get the opportunity to finally do that project, and it's working out. You're not looking back and going, man, I love my life right now, but I wish I never lost that job.
Right. I think that everything that's like falling apart is really just coming together for you. And you can't see that until it's happened.
And you can't. And I think if you look to that and you go, hey, this is preparing me for something much better, that's a good way to get through it. But if you're in there and you're like, oh, my life is horrible, I don't know what to do, like that's where we start getting those feelings of depression and loss, and like
that's where you get stuck there too.
Yeah,
and that you identify with that. And you are not the darkness, you're just experiencing darkness.
Take that and run with it. That's true. Like just because you're surrounded by it doesn't mean that is who you are. That's what you're defined by. That's what you're experiencing. Don't become it.
Right.
Might have to clip that, put that on the reels. If someone listening feels completely unseen in their life right now, what is the very first step they need to take tomorrow to start authentically expressing themselves?
I would say before even expression is to take time to get to know yourself and see yourself. Like spend time in the mirror, loving who you are, and get familiar with who you are. Because I think it doesn't matter how many people see you if you don't see yourself. And I think that's why you feel unseen. I mean, that's what I would tell myself, is the reason you feel unseen is because you're not seeing yourself.
And before you show people, you have to see yourself. I know. That's a very good point. I think it's easy to get lost in putting on this image for other people that we don't think about it. But when you're in the lake by yourself, you're forced to confront that.
Yes.
I gotta make the title something about the lake, because that is so true. That is our life. Like when we're left alone, no noise. What are you telling yourself? What do you see? What do you feel? We keep so busy and so distracted, so we don't have to confront that. But like, confront that. Who are you when you're alone? We had this conversation. Who are you? What does that mean? It's not what you do. It's not your titles. Who are you? There, I just left you in the dark for a second, so hopefully you thought of that. You've got the marathon, the art of being seen, and the hot seat. What does the rest of 2026 look like for you?
Continuing to push my limits. I think I'll probably sign up for another marathon at some point.
Another?
Probably.
Okay.
I haven't even ran the first one.
I was about to say, yeah, but action over thought, right?
Yeah,
like,
I don't see myself slowing down at any point. I'm just going to continue to create as much as I can and push my body as much as I can.
You should look into the Ironman.
I think I would be so good at the Ironman because
Swimming background.
I don't really need to train for the swimming part. Like that's in my blood. And now I'm running a marathon and the bike's a little expensive though. So
Yeah.
someone want to sponsor me for a bike.
Someone please sponsor that, because my buddy, shout out Fish, Mike Fisher. He woke up one day and was like, I'm going to run an Ironman. It was the Texas one. So he moved to Texas for 3 months to train. And like when Fish does something, he doesn't like put his feet in the water. If he's like, oh, I'm going to go swim, he like dives head first in everything he does. So he moves to Texas. He buys like the craziest bike. He's swimming, running, and biking every single day.
You have to do so much to prepare for this.
Oh, yeah. So then I didn't realize. So then there's like meal packs and like certain butters you have to buy so things don't, so things that move and things that aren't supposed to move don't. And friction and all that if you're picking up what I'm putting down. But like there's this whole process, and like there's certain bags you have to buy and because there's stations and you have to put your bags. It was a whole process. And not me thinking like the running, swimming, and biking part is going to be tough, but like it's everything, the transition, right? Coming out of the swim, you're running and transitioning into the bike. Like how do you do that? But while he's doing all that, he also gets a skydiving license because
of course, why
that's
not
enough. So Yeah, there is a process to the iron, but I think you have a swimming background. You're running the marathons. Biking, you're sitting down. You're fine. Like, big
I've
deal.
also considered like backyard ultras. I think those would be a lot of fun. You have like a whole crew with you and you're running laps.
Hey, have you ever did like the Spartan runs?
I have done one of those.
Those I almost died. I
It's like a 5K.
No, that's what I thought I was signing up for. So there's a 5K. There's
Oh,
like
is there
the
like a
sprint.
10K?
There's like a sprint, the something, and the ultra.
Maybe I've done like a knockoff of one of those then.
So
Not
the sprint
that.
is the 5K, but they have 3 levels at the time anyway. So there's a sprint, which is a 5K happening in Palmerton. If you know what Palmerton is, it's mountains, very hilly. I didn't know that. People at work are like, oh, we should sign up. We should do it. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't run, but that's fine. They're like, there's also obstacles. I'm like, oh, cool. That's not enough. Like, sure, let's sign up. We work till 11. And we have to drive to Palmerton or the area it's in because it starts at 7 a.m. So what do you think we do after work? They want to drink. So now we're drinking. And I'm like, dude,
You went out drinking?
Well, no, we didn't go out drinking. We're like,
Okay,
we're
drinking.
drinking. We drive there, right? It was like 4-hour drive. We're sleeping. We get there and he's like, oh, I brought beers. And I'm like, dude, we got to run in like 4 hours.
Did you sleep?
No, we didn't. So
You're a little tipsy going on your run.
so I am miserable. We start the run. Well, 5K starts first. And I'm like, oh, that's us. And like, no, we got the I think it was the Beast.
Was it like 10K?
It was like 21 miles.
21 miles.
It was like 20 miles. I got pulled by medics twice because
Did you even train for this at all? Like,
No.
did you-
Oh, no. Of
And you
course
don't
not.
run very much.
I don't run at all. Like especially at this point.
That's insane.
I'm looking at a trash can on a mountain and I thought it was my buddy and I'm telling him to wait for me. And
You're hallucinating on the mountain.
Yes. I had like heat stroke or
Oh
something.
my gosh.
They said they were like, if we pull you one more time, you're done. And I'm like, you can pull me right now.
Pull me,
Like,
please.
I don't have an issue.
Take me.
I didn't even sign up for this. Like they signed me up. Long story short, I think you might be all right in that. Don't take my approach and don't watch who you surround yourself with because some people just set you up to lose. But yeah, that's yeah. I do not got. Oh, I think you do good at the Spartan. You should try that.
Thank you.
If you want to push yourself
Okay.
even more. Probably the easiest question I've asked you all show. Where can people book a session with you if they want to? I just threw you in there. If they want to do the hot seat or follow your journey, they want to listen to the stories and the people you're showcasing. Where can people follow you online?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram or YouTube. I also have a TikTok. I'm not too active on there, but Talie.Feola. And you can apply for the hot seat through the link in my bio.
It's an application.
Yes, you have
Doesn't
to
mean
apply.
it doesn't get accepted. Okay? I say that to the people for me too. Like, when's my episode? Who said you got an episode? You just applied, bro. I gotta look at it. And one thing I like to do. So now that the show's ending, people are gonna go back to whether they're driving, whether in their office, they're gonna go back to their lives. If you could summarize your philosophy, everything we talked about, your life, the approach, your philosophy in 30 seconds, what would you say before the listeners leave?
I would say get into your body and embody everything that you're planning so much and just live it. Yeah, just get out there and do it. Don't overthink it. Just move your body and do the thing that you want to do. Life's too short.
Facts. And she kept it under 30 seconds. I tried this with Vin Diesel, and
It wasn't 30
it
seconds.
wasn't 30 seconds. The edit was almost 30 seconds, though. So appreciate you for doing that. And not only that, he's in Instagram jail. Did you know that?
I did know that because I've been trying to collab with him. I'm
Yeah,
like,
me
Vin
too.
Diesel, where's your account?
I go to tag him, and I'm like, did dude block me? Did he
That's
hate
what I
the
thought. I'm like,
episode?
what happened? I'm like, is he embarrassed to be seen now?
Yeah. And then I see in the art of Vin Diesel, his
Yes.
other one, he's like, oh, being in Instagram jail. And I'm like, oh, welcome to the club. That happened to me many moons ago. But I appreciate you for coming on to the Relentless Project, sharing your story and getting vulnerable with us. I think there's a lot of people who can learn from your story, me being one of them. So this is the one with Talie Feola, and appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
for being here.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for having me here.
And we are out. Later. And you just got to hear from Talie Feola. Before we get out of here, I have a challenge for you this week. Talie gave us a piece of advice. Stop talking and start doing. You can't think your way to the thing you want. Too many of us are trapped in our own heads. We overthink our trauma, our goals, our businesses, and our projects until we're paralyzed. Your challenge this week is the Action Over Thought Challenge. I want you to identify one thing you've been over-planning, over-analyzing, or talking about doing for the last 6 months. I don't care if it's launching a podcast, starting a new workout program, or having a hard conversation. Within the next 24 hours, you're going to take one irreversible physical action toward that goal. Buy the domain, book the gym, book the class, send the text. Stop trying to think your way to success and start moving your feet. Share this episode with one friend who you think would be inspired by this conversation. Follow the Relentless Project on Instagram, X, and YouTube at Relentless PRJCT. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, show some love so we can keep bringing you awesome guests with relentless stories. And remember, we don't settle, we don't quit, and we don't wait for permission. Love you all. I'm Ish. This is the Relentless Project, and I will see you on the next one. Later.